Chaos.radio. Music, podcasts, entertainment.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of NEWSWAVE, written, produced and recorded in the heart of Cornwall by the team here at Chaos Radio. I'm your host Tom Howe and I'll be guiding you through some of the insightful guests and exciting news content that we've enjoyed across Chaos Radio this past week. On today's bumper show, we join Viki Carpenter, founding director of Access Cornwall, to explore the brand new accessible guide to Truro, which has been created to help make the city easier to navigate for everyone. We check in with Florence and Camilla from Beyond the Buoys, the Cornish trio preparing for a major challenge later this year. More on that later. As well as that, we take a trip to Chaos Farm to meet Sally Robinson and head grower Rich Hardy, as Sally celebrates being named a finalist in a prestigious National Horticulture Awards. We hear from TV personality Binky Felstead, who lifts the lid on why so many adults avoid booking their own holidays abroad. Finally, we welcome former Olympic snowboarder and broadcaster Aimee Fuller to hear her winter training tips and who she'll be watching at the Winter Olympics, plus Gareth and Matt from We Are One to talk their mental health focused sports charity and plans for a rugby sevens tournament later this year.
NEWSWAVE.
But first this week, a new accessible guide to Truro has been released. It brings together clear, checked information to help people with access needs plan their visit around the city. Now, it's the result of the Access Truro project, which worked with dozens of local businesses to improve accessibility and staff confidence. To tell us more about the guide and why it matters, I was joined by Viki Carpenter from Access Cornwall.
NEWSWAVE.
My name is Viki Carpenter and I am the founding director of Access Cornwall CIC. And basically what we do, Tom, is we provide sort of guides, access audit and access training to help people who live with different disabilities and neurodivergence around Cornwall to find amazing things to do in and around Cornwall. So that's basically what we do. And every single team member and volunteer here at Access Cornwall lives with some kind of disability or neurodivergence.
It must be such hard work, but rewarding and exciting at the same time. And I wanted
we love it.
Oh, good. I wanted to chat to you specifically today about a recent kind of really positive thing that you've done in the community, and that is this accessible guide to Truro, which was released last week following the completion of the Access Truro project. So for those, a bit similar to my first question, for those who haven't heard about it yet, what is the guide and who is it designed to help, please?
So the Accessible Guide to Truro basically gives people key information, really helpful information about, accessible facilities, accessible shops, accessible places to eat, things to do, great things you can go and do around Truro. We know Truro has its share of difficulties and challenges when it comes to access for all kinds of people, but there are also some really great places and great people. And this is having the information to know where you can go and things you can do, and just assessing whether that's right for you is what the guide is all about.
Yeah, it's so important, isn't it? And this guide brings together detailed information for a wide range of places like shops, cafes, different venues, different services across Truro. What kind of work went into gathering and checking and distributing all of that information?
Our team worked really hard. We loved it, but we worked really hard. So people with a range of different kinds of accessibility challenges, ranging from different kinds of wheelchairs to people using walking frames, people with sight loss, went all around Truro, visiting places like Truro Cathedral, the museum, cafes, shops, all those places that you'd like to find out around Cornwall. I had my fair share of visit in accessible toilets, Tom, just to check them out.
Ticked off most of them now, have you?
Well, that's pretty important for people with access needs. And then we talked to over 93 businesses providing training and guides and reviewing different establishments. And we listen to a lot of the people who sort of live in and around Truro who have live with disabilities and different needs. And we got advice from them really as well, because that's really important that the local community is part of this. So that was what was involved. And we also had our Experience Truro Differently days, which we've got to invite you along to if we can do it again.
I'd love
which
that.
was it's basically tormenting quite game key decision makers around Truro, including Kate Canally, the CEO of Cornwall Council, lots of senior decision makers in the Highways Department, Cormac, Conserve. We were helped by our partners at Cornwall Mobility and Eyesight Cornwall, and they basically went around Truro with simulated disabilities. So they would use different kinds of wheelchairs. They would have visual impairment goggles on. This is not to say they know what it's like to be disabled, because obviously if you can get up out of the wheelchair at the end of the day, you don't really know. But it just makes you understand how frustrating it is trying to get along one end of Boscawen Street to the other, or when you've got visual impairment goggles, avoiding the kennel drains, seeing shop signage. They just got a real sense of how frustrating and difficult it can be, so that they can start building that into the decisions and the budgets that they make in the future, so we can start making Truro a bit more accessible for everyone.
We're hearing that word, aren't we? Lived experience more and more and more at the moment, aren't we? And it's so important, isn't it? Obviously, people like the people that were involved in the sort of simulated disability sessions there, you're quite right in saying they don't necessarily have a complete appreciation, but at least that's a way to kind of opening their eyes to some of the challenges that are being faced.
It starts the conversation, and more importantly, it gives you a sense of the emotion and the frustration. And, you need to get into the changing places toilet. How do you do that? How do I get to this bank that I want to go in? But actually, there's loads of, there's roadworks, or the pavement's blocked by pavement signs. That's sort of what should be, for people who, don't have the challenges, like a really simple, quick job can take ages or be impossible for some people. And they get an idea of that, which is really helpful.
Absolutely. More than 60 businesses with accessibility reviews, training in over 90 local businesses as well, which is incredible. What has the response been like from the business community?
Well, we adapted it that halfway through. So we offered face-to-face training in Truro Library and online training. And what we found was the businesses, like, I run a little business myself and I understand this, they're quite busy, so quite a few businesses came along to those, and in fact wanted to more than, after they missed the deadline, we're like, oh, rats. So what we did was we printed some training booklets and made a video to take out, and we went door to door and then had really good chats with a load of those businesses. We literally went out into the shops, into the cafes, into all of the places, and talked to the people face to face and gave them the training packs. And they were lovely. It's just the case that people want to do the right thing. They just don't know how. And they really, I thought the business community in Truro were amazing, actually.
That's really good. That's really positive to hear that they're embracing that and making their shops or their restaurants or their venues more accessible for people. What does change look like? It could be, I imagine, something quite simple to start with, but also there's a scale, isn't there, that businesses can climb up to make their buildings completely accessible. And there's all sorts of different things. What does it look like?
Well, like you say, there was a big range. So, like, bigger venues that are sort of investing in this, like Truro Cathedral and the Cornwall Museum and Art Gallery, are making really huge changes. So Truro Cathedral's about to put a completely new accessible entrance in. They've got one already, but they want to make it better. That's happening right now. Same with Cornwall Museum and Art Gallery. There's some lovely accessibility champions there putting in loads of infrastructure. For smaller venues, we were able to buy a few portable ramps and stickers, and they share them amongst shops where possible, but those things don't cost too much. But also just training staff, so for example, they know how to support a mum who's got an autistic child, those sorts of things. We offer free training for that as well, just in taking us up on that, or going out to places where they put pavement signs. There's a moment when we were doing the experience day when there's like a line of pavement signs all across Pider Street and no one could get past, and it's just explaining to people to not do that that makes someone's day so much better. So that's what it looks like, from the tiny changes that make someone's day just better to really big infrastructure changes that are happening.
It's such incredible work that you do. We don't want to patronise at all. We really appreciate as well hearing the stories of people whose lives have changed. I don't think it's too dramatic to say that, because there's a huge anxiety about leaving the house or about going into different places. How are you going to be perceived? How are you going to be received? How people are going to address you, and all of these different things. So it's so great to hear that there was such a great reaction, and that this work has taken place, and hopefully more of it in the future in different places as well. We'll come on to that in just a second. But how do you hope this guide will change the experience of people visiting Truro?
Well, you kind of hit the nail on the head there, Tom, when you said about the anxiety and fear of leaving the house and going to places. We really hope that it will inspire people to look and go, well, actually, I can go there. I could try this. I could get out of the house and meet my friend in this cafe. I could go to that amazing exhibition in the museum or the cathedral, and just to get out of the house and have a little bit more joy and connection in their lives. That's what we really hope the guide will do.
Where can people pick up the accessible guide to Truro, and how can more local businesses, I suppose, either get in touch or request copies for their customers, perhaps?
Okay, so the Truro bid team, who I should have mentioned earlier, did lead this project. Sorry. They've been amazing. They've been helping us all the way through and connecting with us. They are there for people, for businesses, but you can get in touch with them and you can get physical copies from the Visit Truro offices on sort of, the shop there on Boscawen Street. There's also copies in Truro Community Library. And then you can we've also given a few boxes to Cornwall Mobility up near the hospital, and also Eyesight Cornwall over in Newham. And I should mention that if you go to visittruro.com/accessibility, they've got a copy of the guide digitally there, and it's also on our website, on our blog. For people who maybe need larger print or dyslexia friendly print, you can get it online too. The Truro bid team can maybe share some out with other businesses too.
Yeah, wonderful. What's next then? We sort of teased it a little bit. What do you hope? Do you hope Truro builds on this progress in the months and years ahead, and maybe other towns come on board across Cornwall too?
Yeah, we've got loads of exciting pipeline projects with other towns, which have come on board as a result of this. So that's inspired change across Cornwall, which is really exciting. Councillor Stephen Webb, who did help to inspire and pioneer this project with us, is really hopeful that Truro can build on it too by us continually updating and improving that guide. And we can always make improvements, and we are happy to keep trying to do so, and keeping in touch with other events and projects if we can find a way to fund it as whatever around Truro. And I hope you don't mind me saying this, Tom, but we're just about launching our new annual accessible guide to Cornwall, which is something we do every year. So that's the next big things on the cards. Really, we're really excited about all these new things that are happening.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant what you do, and I keep saying it, but we're standing back watching from afar, and it does make such an incredible difference. And keep up the great work. It sounds like you're very busy, but you're saying it with a smile on your face, which is good news.
Yeah, I think every single person, it's really nice to say, but every single person that here loves the work we do, and we love the feedback that we get from people who benefit from it. It really makes our day. So
Fantastic.
yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Truro bid was funded by the UK Shared Prosperity Fund and the TRIP Town Regeneration Fund that Cornwall Council oversees, and it was match funded by Truro City Council, who have also been amazingly helpful.
NEWSWAVE.
Now let's hear from Bryna Jordan, who is joined by Florence and Camilla from a Cornish trio who are planning an exciting challenge later this year. Over to you, Bryna.
NEWSWAVE.
Three friends from Cornwall, brought together by their love of sea swimming, are gearing up to swim the English Channel or to raise funds for Reclaim the Sea. I spoke to Mills and Flo about their inspiration behind the challenge and how their training was going.
I met a young boy on holiday when I was little, on a family holiday, and he had swum the channel as part of some kind of challenge or something with friends or a school thing, and it always stuck with me. And in my head, I was like, I want to do that one day. Then I moved down to Cornwall, met the lovely Flo and Jemima through sea swimming, so through a mutual friend, and it was just going for dips together, basically. That's kind of how our friendship formed and grew. And myself and Jemima were on a sea dip one day, and I turned to her and said, Jemima, have you ever thought about swimming the channel? And then she was like, yes, a lot. And then it kind of spitballed from there. I think Jemima then went into work to see Flo, because Flo and Jemima worked together. I think you said she ran up to you at your desk and was like, do you want to swim the channel? We're putting a team together. Yeah, and it just kind of went from there, really.
Flo, what was your immediate reaction when Jemima ran to you?
Well, I guess quite the opposite to Mills. I'd never thought about swimming the channel before. And I don't know, I think for a while I'd been looking for like a sort of challenge and something to train for, but I hadn't really put much more thought to it than that. And then Jemima came up to me and proposed the question, and I was just like, yeah, sounds great, why not? But I think for all of us for a long time that sort of like optimistic denial kind of lasted for quite a while, and now sort of reality's hit. But yeah, it's very exciting. I think we're as excited as we were when we first signed up, so that's good.
You're not just doing this for fun. Reclaim the Sea is at the heart of all of your fundraising efforts. Flo, could you explain a little bit about what the charity does and why your work is so important?
So Reclaim the Sea provides trauma-informed surf, swim and stand-up paddleboard lessons to people that have experienced sea trauma, mainly refugees and asylum seekers, often people who have had traumatic journeys to reach the UK, or people who have been kind of rehoused in cities or towns that are coastal communities, and they have no access to the ocean and like the amazing resource that it is that we are all so lucky to have access to. It's really about increasing people's access to the sea and helping people create ocean communities that can have such a massive impact on our mental and physical well-being.
Amazing. It almost kind of mirrors your story, all of your stories a little bit, where you've created this community through sea dips. Camilla, what does it mean to you to be able to swim for such a great cause?
Oh, it's amazing. It's so nice to think, one, that you can see, I mean, the videos and the content that Reclaim put out, it's really amazing and beautiful to see the transformation for someone that the ocean is a place of trauma and fear, and then to go through this whole sort of 6-week program and at the end of it just be incredibly overwhelmed that now this is a place they can go to for the complete opposite, you know, what we all get to use it for, which is, you know, a place to reset and a place of kind of healing and to feel calm. And that's most people's kind of, I think, experiences of the sea. We think about it, you know, people go on holiday to the coast, and to see that transformation happen for people that take these water therapy courses with Reclaim is really amazing and a really good motivator, because I think when probably things are going to get tough, or when we're out doing our sea swims in the middle of winter in the Baltic conditions at the moment, you kind of got that thought in the back of your mind, and you know, you think we're doing this for us, but we're also doing it to, you know, help other people be able to benefit and change their lives essentially.
We were talking about, and you mentioned their kind of relationships with the ocean. Slightly touched on it earlier, but how has sea swimming shaped your own lives, and how does that connect to the message that you're trying to share?
The sea has always been somewhere that I've sort of gone to reset and kind of get a sort of mental calm that I don't really get anywhere else. And I think I've kind of, loved the sea and all activities to do with the sea throughout my life, but particularly in Falmouth, moving to Falmouth, it was somewhere that I really found community. And some of my best friends now are people that I've met through swimming, or that our relationships have built through swimming. I think for me, it kind of is a real place of happiness, both within myself and that I share with other people. And if through what we're doing we can, promote that through the work that Reclaim the Sea does, but also inspire other people to get in the sea, and build that connection with the ocean and with each other as well, then that would be amazing.
Absolutely. I personally, I'm the biggest advocate for cold water swimming and cold water dipping. I love to do a sauna swim. I don't think I'm going to go across the channel anytime soon. I can just kind of, where I live in St Austell, I can just kind of make it around the rock at Carlisle Bay and then come back again. Camilla, how has sea swimming shaped your life, and how does it connect to the message that you're trying to share?
I was from sort of North London, Hertfordshire area, and had a pool round the corner from where I lived, where I was growing up. That pool has now sadly closed because of a lack of funding. I was a lifeguard there. I always swam in the pool and didn't really think too much of it. I think just because it was around the corner, it was just naturally sort of what I got into. And then I moved to Australia for a bit. And I just kept up with my swimming. And it wasn't until I moved to Cornwall sort of later on in life that I joined a sea swimming group, and it kind of clicked. And I was like, oh, swimming is something that I've done consistently throughout my life, but actually is really important to me. And I hadn't, some people's is running or kind of that release. And it kind of clicked in Cornwall that was a real sort of, like Flo was saying, a mental reset, and was kind of my escape and something that made me feel really happy. Kind of moving to Cornwall, not knowing anyone, then making friends of all ages as well, which I think is really nice. So the sea swimming group, shout out to Shore Swim. I met a lot of different people from different age groups there, which was really nice. I then joined the Gilly Surf Lifesaving Club as well. And that was a really nice kind of introduction to more different sports on the water, the whole sort of rescue boarding. I then got my beach lifeguard qualification through the club. Yeah, it was just, I'd met so many different people from different age groups, and just really was like, oh, this means a lot to me actually. And it's really nice that I found that, and kind of feel like you kind of find your people, don't you, as well, through that sort of shared connection and shared love. And when you turn to the person that you decided to go for a cold water swim with and look at them and say, why are we doing this? This is mad. But you do it, and then you feel great, and you're like, oh, that's why we do it. Me, Flo and Jemima are always like, you never regret a swim. You never regret a swim. No matter how hard it feels getting in, you always feel great afterwards. And yeah, I love it.
So let's talk training. What does the training schedule look like? And how are you preparing, not only physically, but mentally?
Yeah, good question. Well, I think so. At the moment, we're focusing more on pool swims because it's so very cold in the water. But we're doing 2 or 3 pool sessions a week, and then trying to get a longer sea swim in at the weekends, and just acclimatizing to the cold and trying to slowly build that up. Once the water starts to get warmer, we'll keep building it and transition from the pool to the sea until nearly all of our sessions are kind of more sea based. The mental side, I think, is even more of a challenge. Honestly, we are very lucky in that we're doing it as a 3, so we have one another to lean on. And I think that's kind of my biggest mental motivation at the moment, is that every time I feel like I don't want to do it, or I don't want to get in the sea, I just think, well, I can't let Mills and Jemima down, so I've got to do it. So yeah, I think for me that's really what's keeping me going at the moment.
One of the things that we are going to have to mentally train for is probably starting in the dark. So because it takes so long to do the swim, it's likely that you might start, and depending on tides, You might start at 12 a.m, 1 a.m, 3 a.m, 4 a.m. So we're lucky that we have access to the sea. I know a lot of people that train for the channel don't live in coastal areas. So that's something, I think that mental fear of the unknown will really become apparent when it's pitch black. And then the kind of no wetsuit. So for those people that don't know, the Channel Swimming Association, one of the rules is that you can't have any neoprene whatsoever. So you'll just be swimming in your swimming costume. So I think luckily for us, we're doing it in September, where fingers crossed, hopefully the sea would have warmed up to maybe its warmest point. Because we're doing a slot on, one of us will be swimming, two of us will be on the boat, and then we take it in turns. So I think another thing we'll kind of have to practice is that keeping warm and getting your body used to the fact that you're going to do an hour of intense exercise, then have 2 hours off, and then repeat that 6 or 7 times. We've got a swim camp booked with an organisation that tries to emulate the conditions that you'll face on the channel, being with a boat alongside you. You also have to have a 2-hour cold water swim signed off before you're allowed to take part in the actual swim. So I think that we're looking forward to that. That's in May, and that's kind of our first sort of big milestone, I think, with training both mentally and physically.
And finally, Mills, can you please remind us how much money you're hoping to raise, and how can listeners get involved and support you all?
So we are really hoping to raise £10,000, and that seems like a massive target, but we've got a while to get there. We've got till September, and if anyone is in the Cornwall, Falmouth area, we will be hosting lots of fun fundraising events in and around Falmouth, such as pub quizzes, boozy bingo nights, so do keep an eye out for those. You can check out our crowdfunder page, so that's on crowdfunder.co.uk/Beyond the Buoys, where we've got a whole host of rewards on the page as well. So you can sponsor a mile, and we'll give you a shout out video whilst we're doing the swim. Lots of other rewards that local businesses have kindly donated to us as well. So that will cover hopefully some of the logistics cost for us to complete the swim, and also a big chunk of money that we're hoping to give to Reclaim the Sea to be able to run a full therapy session, to put on a whole full 6-week therapy session.
Thank you very much to Mills and Flo for joining me on Chaos and talking all about their challenge. If you'd like to keep up to date with their training, visit their Instagram, beyond_the_buoys. And if you're in a position to do so, you can donate to their crowdfunder as well.
NEWSWAVE.
Right, you're listening to NEWSWAVE here on Chaos Radio with me, Tom Howe. Sally Robinson, a horticulturist at Chaos Farm, has been named a finalist in the student category of the Society of Garden Landscape Design Awards 2026. Now, the awards, one of the sector's top professional honours, took place at a ceremony in London on Friday the 6th of February. Sally took a break from farm duties to join me in the studio alongside Chaos Farm's head grower, Rich Hardy, to explain more.
NEWSWAVE.
Right, Sally, congratulations on being named a finalist in the Society of Garden and Landscape Designer Awards. Sounds very grand, doesn't it? How did you feel when you found out?
Thank you. I felt very proud. It was quite a lot of work that I did in my final year at university on the honours project, which is the project that I entered for that competition. But yeah, I was spending a long time working on that project and felt very passionate about it. So it's nice to get some recognition for that.
Amazing. Your nomination is for the Public Realm category in the student section. Can you just tell us a little bit more about the design that got you shortlisted?
Yeah, so I created a garden for a fertility clinic. It was a completely theoretical project, but I wanted to create a garden where people would really benefit from it. And I thought that creating a space where people normally experience quite a bleak, sterile environment, such as a hospital, to go for something like a fertility treatment, it doesn't really help people relax. So I wanted to create a garden where everything in the garden was to create a more relaxed experience from the moment that people arrive at the fertility clinic having things like a wider space in the car park and planting in between the car park spaces so that they have a little bit of a sense of privacy, to then creating a place where they could walk around the gardens pre and post appointments to help them relax, and then having spaces within the garden that are set up for activities such as yoga and meditation, things that help people relax. All the activities that help people relax creates a less stressful environment, and then that can increase their chances of success with their fertility treatments. There was some studies that were shown where when people took part of a 12-week program which had activities like yoga and meditation, they had double the amount of success rate. So I think having a garden where it can facilitate that treatment with things like herbal garden, where the herbs can be used to facilitate treatments, and there could be other practices there, such as the classes and therapy sessions that are held outdoors. I think it could all create a better environment for people who want to go to those places. You studied garden and landscape design at the Eden Project with Cornwall College. How did that experience shape your approach to the design? I think from spending 3 years there and getting to work on lots of different projects, it was a great experience to see what interested me. Yeah, so it's always the projects where there's opportunities to improve things like biodiversity or to create situations where people can really get the most out of being outdoors that inspired me. So especially the project that I worked on in my final year on the fertility garden. And then another project that I worked on was a rain garden based outside of a hotel. The whole idea of that was to help with stormwater surges and reducing the amount of water runoff that's going into the drains and putting a lot of pressure on that, and which can also cause problems in the town with flooding. So the project was looking at minimising the impact of that, which I think is really essential at the minute because of the change in climate, and we're seeing more heavy rainfall. So things like a rain garden can slow down the flow of water, and having plants there, things like green roofs, it's all good for insects as well and animals. So it's all great for improving the environment and nature. And it also looks really good as well, much better than just a concrete slab. Rich, Sally's nomination is a big moment for her and for Chaos as well. What does it mean to the team to see her recognised at such a prestigious level?
We're super stoked to have Sally going up to the awards in London based on, all the studies she's done over the past few years. It's really nice to see, time and energy put into studying and learning in Cornwall can be rewarding. And, to see her go off to these, incredible awards in this sector is, just the cherry on the top of the cake for us. So, we're very excited about the awards coming up. Amazing. Now, the awards have been described, if I may, as the Oscars of garden design. How important is this kind of recognition for emerging talent like Sally here in Cornwall? I think, young people, especially going through their studies, it's great for them to have a goal, not just to complete their course, but to have recognition for the work and energy they put into it. And, certainly this award, it very much is the Oscars of this sector. All the big names in the garden design and landscape architecture world are going there. So Sally's going to have some great opportunities to meet and talk about, her work, her project, and also, the work that she's doing for us at Chaos. So it's going to be a really exciting event. And, we're just the fan club riding on the back of her tail, to be honest. Aside from the work that she's been nominated for, her work on the sensory garden at the Nest as well is a great example of what we like to call design with purpose. Why is this project so important for Chaos? Well, I think firstly, Chaos is great at recognising people's talent and investing in them to make sure that, that talent comes through, thrives and chaos benefits off the back of it. And I think the Sensory Garden is a project that's going to do that. We're very much about, supporting communities, growing food, helping people where we can. And I think, embracing garden design in some of our, residential centres where people are experiencing crisis and going to recover and help get themselves in a better position for what comes next. Sensory gardens fit really well into that. So it's really exciting that, that site up near Truro is going to get a sensory garden and have potentially, a big figure in the garden design world help us create that in the future. So yeah, we're really excited about that.
Sensory gardens are such a fascinating concept as well, aren't they? What do you hope people will experience when they visit the one you've designed?
Yeah, so the sensory garden I've designed, it's part of a home which is helping people who have had a mental health crisis, and they're spending 12 weeks there to have a little bit of respite. So I'm really hoping that the garden will allow them a little bit of a chance to find some peace inside their minds. I think a lot of the time people can get quite inside of their heads, and I'm hoping that through engaging the senses that they can become a little bit more present and get away from that chatter that's going on inside their heads. Things like smells and sounds and having wildlife interactions, I think, can really help people feel a little bit more relaxed and grounded.
Cornwall's got such a strong connection to nature, doesn't it? We're absolutely surrounded by it here. Do you think we're seeing more interesting careers like garden and landscape design locally?
I think so. This sector is growing. I mean, since the back of the pandemic, I think more people have discovered their gardens and what their gardens can bring to them to help with their physical health and mental health. So it's only natural that, we start thinking more about how we can create projects in bigger spaces in the public realm, to help support people, in places like the NHS, care homes, hospices, where, the benefits and joy of just being outside in nature can help them in their recovery. So I think we are going to see a lot more of this, and I think Chaos are really best placed to be able to sort of pioneer these types of projects in Cornwall.
You'll soon be heading to London for the awards. How does it feel to be part of such a prestigious event and to be to have the support of some of your Chaos colleagues too, and to represent Chaos as well?
Yeah, it feels really exciting, and I'm really grateful for Chaos's support with us all going down there, and I'm really happy that they'll all be there at the event to support me. It's really exciting to go down there. I think coming down from Cornwall, which it's not always the most glamorous place, to London will be quite exciting, and a change of scenery. Yeah, it'll be really good.
NEWSWAVE.
Time for something a little bit different now. Have you thought about your 2026 holiday yet? And if you have, will you be booking it yourself or leaving it to someone else? If you're the latter, you aren't alone. A third of adults have admitted to never booking a holiday abroad themselves. Cheryl Gordon found out more with TV personality Binky Felstead.
NEWSWAVE.
Binky, some people never actually book a holiday abroad themselves and leave it to someone else. Why do you think that is?
I'm afraid, Cheryl, I am one of those people.
Me too.
Good, fine. I'm in good company. No, the thing is, it's not through laziness. It's just through getting slightly, overwhelmed and not having any confidence in myself that I'm going to get the right flight, the right destination. So that wonderful task is usually left to my better half to book all the flights, and he's very good at that kind of thing, so I let him do it. But I have to say it's a bit ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, many travellers stick to the same destination as well, or go for package holidays to avoid stressful mistakes. What do you think that says about how people plan their trips nowadays?
I just think I have tried booking my own holiday, and I've got 100 tabs on the laptop. And by the time I think I found the right flight, the money's gone up, or I'm worried about booking a flight and then booking a hotel that's probably 10 hours away from the airport. I'm just worried about everything that could go wrong. And with me, it probably could go wrong, because I'm not not the most organized, let's say. So I think I do get it. And that's why we're talking about Skyscanner today, because they have launched a brand new package search. That does mean you can look for flights and hotels from travel operators, and it's all in one place, and it just makes it super easy for families to book deals and takes the hassle out of it.
Do you prefer to stick to what you know, or do you like to branch out?
I like to branch out, although I do like the safety of knowing where I'm going and how everything works. But we are I do like to book things with the kids, making new memories and showing them different countries and cultures. And I do think that's important. But I think just for the ease of it, a lot of us tend to kind of just go back to the same place when we've got children, because you know how everything, works and where to go.
It seems that younger travellers often choose package holidays. Why do you think these trips are so popular with them?
I guess because it's just easy, isn't it? You've just got everything in one place, and you've got the price comparison bit, so you can put, in the filter how much your budget is, and Skyscanner will stick to that budget. And you can book not just the hotel and the flights, but you can also book the transfers as well, which is really important. I mean, the amount of times I come out of an airport in a different country and I've had 100 people screaming at me to get in their car, and it's just a bit overwhelming, also quite scary. You don't know if you're going to, where you're going to end up at the end of that journey, or if you're going to be ripped off. So I think that whole transfer part is really important as well for safety, as well as, keeping to a budget.
Those who like organising their own holidays, what do you think are the best and the trickiest parts of doing it themselves?
I'll have to ask my husband for that. He is the one that books everything. He's very organised. I think in a relationship you have definitely in this relationship, he's the organised one that does everything, and I'm the one that kind of does things last minute. I tend to make it work 9 times out of 10. But he likes to plan everything well in advance. He's looked at all the different destinations, and he's really thought about, every single detail. Whereas I'm kind of more fly by the seat of my pants and let's try something a bit different. So I think in a relationship, it's good to have both those things going for you. But this is where I think I'm going to be shocking him. When I book this holiday, I'm not going to tell him anything about it. I'm just going to book it and see his reaction.
What would be your top tips to make the booking of the trip abroad easier?
Well, Skyscanner. You can download the app as well, Skyscanner app. So you literally have got everything in one place. And it's not just for long haul flights. You can also do, obviously, short haul flights. But the long haul flights, you can go to amazing destinations like Mexico, Maldives, Mauritius. I mean, it's all on there. And you can look at 5-star hotels, or if that's not, not in your budget, you can look at other amazing places to stay that are well within your budget.
Looking ahead to 2026, are there any new trends or destinations you think people should watch out for?
Oh, I'm so untrendy, so don't ask me about trends. But destinations, the thing is, I like beach holidays with the children. I just find them super easy. The kids are in heaven just for hours playing in the sand, in the water. But then, of course, it's kind of different, if you're just going on your own, or you're going with a friend, or you're just going as a couple. I mean, there's different destinations for all of those things.
Binky, thank you so much for your time today. It was lovely to talk to you.
Lovely talking to you too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
NEWSWAVE.
Right, cold weather, a lack of daylight and seasonal illness are the key barriers for many wanting to get active during the winter months. That comes as 49% say that poor breathing can leave them feeling more exhausted post-workout. With the Winter Olympics now well underway, Nathan Hunkins spoke to Aimee Fuller, former Olympic snowboarder and broadcaster, to learn about her top tips for training and her ones to watch over the Winter Games.
NEWSWAVE.
Aimee, you've spent years training through winter. What mindset shifts or habits help you stay active during the cold, dark months?
Habits is the key word there. I absolutely love that. And I've built in a few that have been an absolute game changer for me. So first and foremost, commit to it the night before. Get your kit out, put it on the radiator, and if it's there, it's warm, it's all laid out, there's no excuse, you're not fumbling around in the morning, your trainers are warm, make sure you've got some sort of running like mac that you can wear so you don't get drenched. You know, these are all the things that make us put exercise off, is the cold, dark, wet mornings. Another hack for me as well is about mentally thinking about making it accessible. So I literally sometimes put my yoga mat on the floor next to my bed, so when I wake up I step straight onto it and there's no excuse. So it's carving out that time for you. 10 minutes is better than no minutes, and once you've started, it opens up the doors to just maybe doing 15 minutes or 20 minutes, but the key is in protecting that time. And then another one for me is breathing. It's at the core of everything we do as an athlete or someone who's training day to day or working towards a big goal like a marathon. So I've been using Sterimar congestion relief, and it's just been an absolute game changer, because so often than not this time of year we catch ourselves in that situation where we're congested, all bunged up, you know, we're next to people on the tube, the trains, and there's things flying around. And it's so true that 73% of people do find it harder to exercise when congested. So a quick tip, an easier hack is get on the Sterimar.
Preparation is key by the sounds of it, and really learning to kind of find what works for you. If people are really struggling with things like consistency, that can be a real challenge to kind of keep a consistent pattern for things. What's one thing that you can do today to make winter training less daunting, do you think?
I think it goes down to the preparation and the mental headspace. So it is putting all the essential tools in place so you're not looking for excuses, right? I always think of going for a run, and if you get out the door, the minute you're out the door, even if you just tell yourself, I'm gonna go for a mile, once you've done a mile, if you've got the time, if you've protected that time, you could go for maybe 2 miles or 3 miles. And the incredible thing about exercise and movement is once you've broken down the barrier to starting, you become like enthralled in the movement, because it is a place to switch off and feel good, and exercise makes us feel good. So once you've started, you'll find you end up achieving more, and then you get high of breaking down that barrier and achieving that goal of moving for you.
Some great advice. Look, the Winter Olympics are always a highlight of the sporting calendar. We're getting really excited to hyperfixate on all the great winter sports that we're going to see on our TVs very soon. In your opinion, who should we be keeping an eye out for during this year's games? Who have you got your eyes on?
So I'm literally just fresh back from Aspen, Colorado. I was presenting the X Games out there, and it's the biggest global event in action sports. Just 2 weeks before the Olympics, we saw 3 British victories in the freestyle disciplines. So the names to watch are Kirsty Muir in ski slope and big air, Mia Brooks in snowboard slope and big air, and Izzy Atkin in the half pipe. They are our golden girls. 3 gold medals just 2 weeks before the games. So my fingers are crossed that we can keep that momentum into this Olympic Games.
And apart from the obvious, being snowboarding, do you have any other sports that you're particularly looking forward to watching? Because that's what I love about the Olympics. It exposes people to sports that they might not be familiar with.
Yeah, definitely. For me, the skeleton. I think it's so exciting. And we've got such a depth of talent there. We do have the current world champion, Matt Weston, and he's on absolute flying form. I mean, imagine sliding down an ice chute at speeds up to 70 miles per hour with your chin just 3 inches off the ground. No, thank you.
You've got to be brave to do that. I completely agree. Look, we've been talking about preparation and motivation. One quick question before I let you go. If you could design your dream winter workout playlist, which song would you always pump it up to get you going, regardless of how dark and cold those days are?
Okay, so it's I'm a Woman on a Mission by Gabriella Kilme.
What a great choice.
I am a woman on a mission. Oh, wait. I bet you didn't think I'd sing it for you as well, did you?
She's a karaoke star as well. There you go. Aimee, thank you so much for joining us on Chaos Radio, and enjoy the Winter Olympics.
NEWSWAVE.
Last but by no means least this week, local lads Gareth and Matt join us now to talk all about their organisation We Are One, which aims to support mental health through sports. In that vein, they're planning a rugby sevens tournament later this year and joined Cheryl Gordon in the studio earlier this week to chat all about it.
NEWSWAVE.
Hi, I'm Gareth. As a barber, I have the opportunity to meet people on a personal level. That's how my friendship grew with Matt. Both went back to playing rugby last year and really saw the importance of being part of a team and the mental health side of that. So yeah, we are creating We Are One, turning it into a CIC charity, bringing back the community stronger.
And I can see you're really passionate about making that personal touch, that bringing that community together from conversations we're already having here today. How does that make you feel as a person?
Well, it's great. I mean, it's a way for us to give back. Connection is such an important thing that I feel like we're losing at the moment. So to be able to empower people in that way and find ways for them to find their own way to give back maybe is really important to us, and it makes us feel great.
Absolutely. Now, your Rugby Sevens tournament will be held on the 24th of May. What can people expect if they come along?
So we are hoping to turn it into a family day. We've invited all of the men's teams in Cornwall and the ladies' teams. So it's over 18s, and it's to bring awareness to mental health within sports. So we're working alongside Man Down and George's Voice. We've collaborated with them before. It's really important to us. I think as a barber, men tend to open up more now, which is really good. So yeah, it's just building those bridges and networking and bringing that community together. What impact are you hoping this event will have for both the people attending and for the wider community?
I think awareness is key, and I believe that creating an event like this will bring together a lot of people which can raise the awareness, not only for mental health, but also for connection amongst us. The goal is for us is to create this CIC, and this is really a launch pad for us to be able to give back even more once we're post-event. That's something that we feel really strongly about, but the connections for us aren't just for sport. It's anything professional, mental health, or anything that's in between really. So that's a really important key factor for us.
I think there can be a lot of pressure on people that are within sports sometimes. You know, we see it with highly trained athletes, for example, the pressure to be able to keep going, play at their best. So it makes sense to start having that outreach for people to be able to express themselves, doesn't it, really?
Absolutely. I think with any sort of sport, there's a pressure put on you to play well, produce well, be part of that team and support one another. Sometimes when you step back, you kind of reflect and you think, oh, maybe I struggled there, or maybe I don't know how to approach those feelings we have. So by working with Man Down and George's Voice, even if it's just signposting, it's putting that awareness out there and showing people that there is external help.
Yeah, I think sometimes like the costing within the NHS sometimes can be issues. And knowing that great charities like Man Down and George's Voice out there, people know that they can reach out. So obviously we've talked about both Man Down and George's Voice, and you've worked closely with them. What makes you so passionate about these two charities?
Firstly, we're passionate about mental health, but we also want to bring a movement aspect to that. We believe that movement, fitness and those things contribute massively to your mental health. And if it means that we can combine those things, that's what the key of We Are One is to us. I mean, that's really the key factor.
And I think the name sort of resonates really well, doesn't it, with it, to make a difference to people. And we are all one, aren't we, especially within Cornwall. Now, there are quite a few teams that have entered. Can teams still apply?
Yes, we've extended our invitation to all the teams up until the 8th of March. We've got about a third already paid up and entered. Really looking forward to them being there. So we've got an online form they can fill out, pay their fee. With that, we're producing a We Are One rugby shirt. So each team will get a shirt framed with a thank you note and a QR code that will take you to the We Are One website, which will branch out to all the local mental health charities.
Wonderful. It sounds a really great event. Finally, please can you remind us of all the important details, who, what, when, where, and how people can follow along with your journey?
So 24th of May, That's going to be at Red Ruth Rugby Club. We're going to sell tickets for £5 on the door. We're also going to be having a link, hopefully, on our Instagram and on our webpage soon, so you can buy your tickets directly through there. There's going to be children's entertainment. There's going to be a party afterwards, and we're going to have a great day and celebrate movement, mental health, and rugby.
NEWSWAVE.
Okay, that's all we've got time for on this week's edition of NEWSWAVE. A big Chaos Radio thank you to Viki Carpenter of Access Cornwall, Florence and Camilla from Beyond the Buoys, to Chaos Farms, Sally Robinson and Rich Hardy, to TV personality Binky Felstead, former Olympic snowboarder and broadcaster Aimee Fuller, and to Gareth and Matt from We Are One. What a packed show we've had on NEWSWAVE this week. And as ever, a final thank you to you for listening and helping support local journalism to thrive. To catch up on all our coverage, as well as to check out our extensive back catalogue of interviews and shows, head on over to chaos.radio, and why not check out our new news service, chaosnews.uk. And remember, if you have a local news story that you'd like to share with us, email news@chaos.radio or search Chaos Radio UK across socials. That's it, you're up to date here on Chaos. I'm Tom Howe, thank you so much for listening. Whatever it is that you're doing in your community this week, be sure to add a little chaos.
NEWSWAVE.
Chaos.radio. Music, podcasts, entertainment.